We are continuing our discussion on the customary system, and so tonight we're talking about capacity and weights in the customary system. And capacity is just the amount of something that a container can hold. So you're looking at how much can a milk gallon or a milk jug hold, or how much can this container hold. It's how much something can hold. And weight is how much it weighs. So, I mean, when you think about weight, you're thinking about how much do you weigh, how much does the table weigh. It's more of the weight, not in something. So let's go ahead. First off, we need to copy down the table, looking at how much each of these things are and how they relate. So first off, a fluid ounce is different than an ounce. Okay, so the fluid ounce is just of fluids. It is different than a regular ounce. So it's FLOZ is the abbreviation there. And when you think about a tablespoon, it's just your regular spoon that you'd eat your lunch with. 2 of those is about 1 fluid ounce. 1 cup of water, or a cup of whatever, that's a normal coffee cup, is going to be 8 of those fluid ounces. So any normal thing that you would drink out of, a coffee cup, a mug, any of those things, is usually about 8 fluid ounces. A pint is 2 cups, so it's 16 fluid ounces. And a pint is a small ice cream container. If you want to put it in kind of relation to what you guys eat at lunch, those little milk cartons you have are half pints, so 2 of those would be a pint. A quart is 2 pints, and it would be like a large liquid measuring cup. So any of those glass measuring cups that your mom or dad might have at home, any large ones of those are going to be a quart. And then a gallon is 4 quarts. And you guys I'm sure you guys can picture what a gallon of milk looks like. So that would kind of be the size of that there. So you will be seeing me using some of these abbreviations, so you want to maybe keep this chart handy throughout the lesson, throughout the examples or the homeworks even. So that if you're not familiar with it, I'll be saying the words, but if so you can get familiar with what those abbreviations are as well. So some of you may have seen this, Gallon Man. So this is just kind of a pictorial representation of some of these things. Looking at how many, so there are 4 quarts in a gallon, so that's where the 4 blue pieces come. Each quart has 2 pints, which means there are 8 total pints in a gallon, and then each pint has 2 cups. So that means there are 16 total cups in a gallon. So 4 quarts in a gallon, 8 pints in a gallon, 16 cups in a gallon, and then if you think beyond that, you would multiply that by 8 for the fluid ounces, because there are 8 fluid ounces in each cup. But it doesn't go that far. Alright, let's go ahead and do some examples of this. And remember, we are going to be doing these conversion factors. So we're going to do these the same way that we did them in class. So if I have 3 quarts is equal to a pint, same way we did it with measurement, or with length. I have 3 quarts. I'm going to put that right on top over 1. And now I need to multiply this by some conversion factor. Remember, whatever we're moving to, that's what I want to put on top. So I have then 1 pint, excuse me, we have pints on top and quarts on the bottom. How many pints are in a quart? There are 2 pints for every 1 quart. The quarts will cancel, and then I multiply straight across. Remember, when you multiply fractions, you multiply straight across. 3 times 2 is 6, so I have 6 pints, and then just 1 on the bottom. So 3 quarts is equal to 6 pints. So again, we're going to be doing the same thing here. 5 quarts, we just put that right on top. And then I multiply by my conversion factor. Well, again, I'm dealing with pints and quarts. So I put 2 pints over 1 quart. Whatever you're moving to, whatever you don't know, goes on top. The second one here goes on top. So I'm going to make sure to emphasize that so you're setting these up correctly. 5 times 2 is 10. So we have 10 pints over 1. So 5 quarts is equal to 10 pints. So that's moving from a bigger to a smaller. Same thing that we had talked about today. When you're moving from bigger to smaller, you're multiplying. However, when we move from a smaller to a bigger, we're going to be dividing. So let's take a look at some of these bigger to smaller, or excuse me, smaller to bigger examples. So 64 fluid ounces, and we want to know how many pints that is. Now this one is actually kind of asking us to do it twice. Because we go from fluid ounces to cups, and then from cups to pints. So there's actually 2 steps in here. So first off, 64 fluid ounces goes on top over 1. Multiply. Now, when you're looking at your chart, the next step up from a fluid ounce is a cup. So when we go back, I'm going to go back to this table real fast. So when we go from a fluid ounce, you're always moving to the next one. So I want to move 2 steps. So we're moving from the fluid ounce to the cup. I have to convert that first. So we're going to do 64 fluid ounces, and there are 8 fluid ounces in 1 cup. We'll use this C, just 1 cup. However, I don't want to go to cups, I want to go to pints. So I have to do this again. Now, here we have, again, cups are on the top. I want to get it on the bottom. How many cups are in a pint? There are 2 cups in 1 pint. So notice, I had to do it twice. Once to get rid of the fluid ounces and get cups, and then again to get rid of the cups to get back to the pint. So I multiply straight across. 64 times 1 is 64 pints over 1 times 8 times 2 is 16. 64 divided by 16, 64 fluid ounces is equal to 4 pints. Okay? So this is, I kind of warned you with it, it's going to get more complex. This is one of those where you have to do this twice. So you're almost doing all the conversions within 1 step instead of saying, okay, how many 64 fluid ounces, how many cups, how many pints. You don't have to do all the steps. You can just do it all in one big thing with that conversion factor. So I'm going to erase this just so I give myself some room to do the next one. So now we want to go from 4 pints into cups. That's just a 1-step thing. So we have, again, this is moving from bigger to smaller, so this is kind of going back to the other one. So when I go from pints to cups, there are 2 cups in 1 pint, so the pints will cancel, and we end up with 8 cups. Then we have the ones in weight. There are not as many of these, so there are some things here looking at the models and the examples here. So we have 1 ounce, and this is not a fluid ounce, it's just an ounce. Would be about a pencil, it's about an ounce. A pound would be 16 of those, or a package of notebook paper. And then 1 ton is 2,000 pounds, which is approximately a small passenger car. And again, it would depend on the car and the engine and all that kind of stuff, but any kind of smaller passenger car is going to be about a ton. Now I want to get into some word problems here. Instead of doing just those straight conversions, I kind of want us to see how do we apply this. So this is how many 4-ounce snack boxes can be made with a 3-pound bag of raisins. Well, anytime we do problems like this, we need to make sure that we're looking at the same measurement. So it's always easier to go from bigger to smaller. So I'm going to convert 3 pounds, and I want to make it into ounces. So how many ounces are in a pound? There are 16 ounces in 1 pound. Again, the pounds cancel. 3 times 16 gives me 48. So there are 48 ounces in 3 pounds. So now I'm saying, okay, now how many of those 4-ounce boxes can I make? So this isn't not just a conversion, it's a conversion and then a division, because I want to say how many 4-ounce boxes go into that 48 ounces. So then I have to divide that. 48 divided by 4. How many of those can I get? Goes in there once, subtract, bring down the 8, goes in there twice. We're going to get 12 of those 4-ounce snack boxes. So the answer here would be 12 boxes. So these word problems are kind of an example of where we can use these, but there's more than just conversions here. You're converting it, and then you have to do something else with it. Most of the time, divide or multiply. So if we take a look at one more example, it says Justin's dog eats 20 ounces of dried dog food each day. If Justin buys a 40-pound bag of dog food, how many days will this last? We're doing the same kind of thing. We've got to convert those pounds back to ounces and then figure out how many times will 20 go into that. So 40 pounds, conversion factor, pounds and ounces. Remember, pound has to be in the bottom. So we have 1 pound, 16 ounces. So the pounds will cancel. And we end up with 40 times 16 is actually going to give us 640 ounces. Is that my finish? It's not. Because now I know I have a total of 640 ounces, but I want to know how many times will 20 go into that. So I'm going to take 640 and we're going to divide it by 20. So 20 will go into 60 3 times, and that will go in there twice. So we're going to get 32 days that's going to last us, which is actually pretty good. You think you're only buying dog food once a month. Okay. So that's it. That's the completion of our lesson. So tomorrow in class we'll be doing 11 through 37, the odds. Again, we're going to continue working on these conversion factors and these conversion setups, because I really want you guys to know and understand and master how to do these. So please do them this way, even if you're understanding how to do it otherwise. I'd really appreciate if you would follow through and do it with this way, just so you're getting that process down so we can move on to harder problems.